Hey everyone, Derek from RME here, and today it's all about metering. We're going to show you how to meter your Dante network using RME's Digiface Dante, TotalMix, and RME's infamous metering tools known as Digicheck. Stay tuned. Okay, before we get started, you might notice behind me I have an RME Digiface Dante, and I'd like to focus your attention on the diagram. So you'll see that I have an RME Digiface Dante here on the bottom. Up on the top, I have an RME 12 mic preamp connected via MADI right into the BNC. And then I have a Ferrofish A32 Dante and a multiverter from Apsys connected directly into the Ethernet ports on the RME device. Now, you might be wondering about those Ethernet ports. The RME device can function as a 4-port Dante switch, or you can switch it to redundant mode, and the first 2 ports are Dante devices and the second 2, or port 3 and 4, are redundant. So now that you have a good understanding of our setup, let's get into TotalMix and Digicheck and show you how to meter using these tools your Dante network. Okay, here's the TotalMix window of the RME Digiface Dante. You have all of your Dante inputs into that interface represented in the top row, and all of the MADI inputs further down. The middle row is all of your software playback. So if you're doing any audio playback from the computer, you can route that audio into the middle row and submix it out the Dante or MADI outputs out onto your network. And the bottom row is all of the hardware outputs. So your Dante outputs 1 through 64, followed by your MADI outputs. And we have a main out fader, which we have assigned to our headphone TRS jack. And you do that here. Now, the first thing you're going to want to do is open up Dante Controller and make your connections. And you can see we have our devices that we showed in our diagram here, and I'll just go ahead and finish making the connections from my Digiface to my devices, and also my devices into my Digiface. And once I make those connections and I go back over into my RME interface, I'll get some audio going on the network. And now we have audio coming in based on those connections up here, and we can meter it. We have audio playback happening on the computer, and we have audio routed to both MADI and Dante outputs. So TotalMix can actually become a very helpful meter bridge. And if you use TotalMix Remote, you can actually watch this over a network on Wi-Fi, say, for example, on an iPad. So it's pretty simple to operate this mixer and this meter bridge by simply clicking on an output, and you can see which audio is routed to the various outputs. So for example, if I want to route something specific to Dante 1 and 2, I can see very clearly right now when I highlight Dante 1 and 2, all of the faders are labeled that, so I know what's being routed to that and whatever I have up. So these faders right here are all submixing to Dante 1 and 2. When I click on Dante 3 and 4, I see that these faders, if I wanted to also send audio coming in on the Dante network, I can just bring these faders up as well. And if I want to clear a mix, I right click and I can clear a mix very, very easily. So that is how you can meter and sum and bus audio in TotalMix. Now let's take a look at Digicheck. Okay, here's a look at an example of some Digicheck windows and everything that's possible. And before we get into this, let me show you where to download Digicheck. You're going to go to rmeusa.com. You will click on the downloads link at the very top, and it'll bring you to this page. We're not downloading drivers, so you simply go over to the software section, and you're going to see several versions of Digicheck. If you're a Mac user on 10.14 High Sierra or more recent, like Catalina or Big Sur, you will download Digicheck NG Mac OS Preview. Anything prior to 10.14, you will want 0.73. For Windows users, current Windows users will use the version 5.941. If you're using Windows XP or earlier, you will want to download one of these versions here. Simply download it like any piece of software and open it up. and you can get started. Now, I'm going to do a little tour of Digicheck, but you're looking at some of the various kinds of windows that Digicheck offers. So we can have a multi-meter window, which is what you have here on the left half of my screen, where we have a spectral analyzer, a phase correlation meter. We have all of the inputs of the network right here that we're using with the Digiface Dante as sort of a global meter view with peak RMS. And we even have surround metering that we can assign certain inputs. And over on the right, I have just 1 meter window that I can also use. If I don't want to do a multi-version window like you see over here on the left, I can have 1 big window and spread it all the way out and have exactly what I want to meter my Dante network. Simply right-click on the meter and you can choose the different types: 2-channel, multi-channel, spectral analyzer. And I will do that so you can see all the various options. And because as I size the window, the meters change, you can put this up on a monitor and always have it on, or just use it for troubleshooting or deploying the Dante network to begin with. Now you might be wondering, how do I select what I'm metering? So the first one is the type, which I took you through all the different ones. Now the input selection is where you can choose which Dante input of the Digiface Dante or MADI, since it does MADI as well, you're metering. And you can select them all or select individual ones. In addition to that, you have the settings of your meters where you can set the reference level, the top level, the switch level, colors, everything that you might want to get really precise metering. A little bit beyond the scope of this video, but you can see that you have a lot of nuances that you can tweak to your liking. So essentially, you have the type, the input selection, and the settings, and even the appearance. You know, what the text in the header, and you can even name your meter. And if you're using the multi-meter, you can define in each section what meter type you want by simply right-clicking and choosing exactly the type of meter that you might want to put in that section. Well, I hope this has shown you and illuminated exactly what you can do with metering your Dante network. For more information, simply visit us at rmeusa.com and we'd be glad to help. Thanks for watching.